The little boy was born with a facial deformity. He has undergone a total of 27 surgeries from birth until now. However, the results were unable to change his original appearance. Apart from his family, everyone treats him like a monster. Wherever he goes, he faces discrimination. To protect Auggie, his parents have kept him at home. Even when he goes outside, they make him wear a helmet. Although he has never attended school, under his mother's guidance, Augie's academic performance is much better than his peers. However, as he grows older, his mother decides to let him enter a school. She is afraid he won't fit in. She even arranges for him to have a trial day. The principal warmly welcomes them. Then, 3 classmates are assigned to show him around and help him get familiar with the environment. 2 of them are fine. But one rich kid looks down on him. Not only does he look down on Auggie, but he also rudely asks him, "Is it because of the car accident that it turned out like this?" Ogden feels sad. He stayed silent in the corner for a long time. Ogden felt a little disappointed after returning home. But he didn't give up going to school because of it. The moment he stepped into the campus, he took off his helmet. All the classmates instantly cast strange glances at him. Remembering his mother's words, Ogden immediately imagined the campus as his favorite space. And he also became an admired astronaut by everyone. And I also became an astronaut admired by thousands of people. After arriving in the classroom, the originally noisy classroom suddenly became quiet. The teacher asked him to introduce himself. But Ogden timidly shook his head. Little did he know, the teacher was very persistent. Helpless, Ogden had no choice but to stand up. After introducing his name, he also said that he liked Star Wars the most. Unexpectedly, he was mocked by the rich second generation. He said his little braid looks like a monster inside. The girl next to him couldn't stand it anymore. He immediately reprimanded. If you have to choose between right and kindness, please choose kindness. However, during lunch break, the rich second generation still showed no remorse. Intentionally ran to Oggie's side, "Go Lion," mocking him for eating like a monster. "Go Leo." Until the science class, Oggie finally used his extensive knowledge. He slapped the faces of those classmates who mocked him. Unexpectedly, this action aroused their jealousy. They bullied him under the pretext of playing games. And Oggie could only silently endure. Little did he know they would become even more ruthless. They kept following Oggie, mocking and insulting him. At the moment he saw his mother, Oggie immediately grabbed the helmet and put it on. Back at home, he decisively cut off his braid. Guess what happened? Mom hurried over to comfort. Oggie couldn't control the tears in his eyes anymore. He cried and asked his mom, "Why did God make me so ugly?" Mom's heart was broken after hearing it. She told Oggie, "A person's appearance is like a map, always guiding us in the right direction. No matter how it looks, it is still the most beautiful light." With Mom's encouragement, Oggie finally showed a bright smile again. He still actively participates in class discussions, leaving all the gloom behind. During the in-class test, he was the first one in the class to finish. While his classmate Jack always had a troubled expression, Oggie glanced at the teacher. Then he tapped him. Jack understood without words. Use hands and eyes quickly. Copy all the answers in minutes. After this incident, Jack no longer dines with the second generation of the rich. Instead, he took the initiative to sit next to Auggie. While expressing gratitude, Jack asked him, "What if the teacher finds out?" However, Augie's answer surprised him. "I don't. They can just expel me." They smiled at each other. They couldn't help but open up to each other. And Jack became Augie's first friend. Mom was extremely pleased to see this. In the following days, they talked and laughed about everything. This made Auggie feel a happiness he had never experienced before. However, the good times didn't last long. On Christmas Day, Auggie suffered a heavy blow. Today was supposed to be his favorite holiday. Because everyone was wearing masks, no one would mock his appearance anymore. But it was also because of this that they couldn't tell who was who. Auggie walked into the room with great excitement. Unexpectedly, he heard the most heart-wrenching words. Jack, in order to ease his relationship with the second-generation rich, went so far as to say, "If I looked like Auggie, I might as well kill myself." The reason for getting close to him was because the principal repeatedly instructed to treat him like a normal person. Unexpectedly, Auggie is still lingering around and following me like a shadow all day long. These words pierced Augie's heart like needles. After returning home, he was gloomy and depressed. He locked himself in his room and refused to see anyone. What made him even more angry was that his helmet mysteriously disappeared. His sister was worried that his young heart couldn't bear it, so she changed into a princess outfit to comfort him. After learning the cause and effect, his sister told him the truth through her own experience. In the process of growing up, no matter who it is, we'll meet new friends one after another. In the end, some people will leave, while others will stay by your side. That's why life is like a sieve, constantly filtering out the impurities. Only the essence remains in the end. It seems like he understood the meaning of these words. Augie's emotions gradually calmed down. After returning to school, Ogi no longer easily trusts anyone, especially when it comes to Jack. He becomes extremely indifferent. Jack looks confused by Ogi's unusual behavior. He doesn't even know what to do. Inadvertently, Jack recalls the bits and pieces of their time together at Lair, Pullman. It was so relaxed and joyful. Compared to the sarcastic and mean-spirited rich second generation, Ogi appears friendlier and more humorous. If before, it was because he listened to the principal's words that he interacted with him. But now, he genuinely wants to become good friends with Ogi. Perhaps this is what people often say. Only when you lose something do you understand its value. During the lunch break, Jack came up to him on his own initiative. But what he got in return was still cold treatment. At this moment, a female classmate suddenly sat across from Auggie. She was Shamu, who scolded the second-generation rich for being kind on the first day of school. Pure. At first, Auggie was very resistant. Pure. He was afraid that Shamu was also deliberately sent by the principal. So every word he said was sharp. Shamu hurriedly explained. The principal has never approached her. For this, she even made a solemn vow. Her sincerity finally moved Auggie. The two of them naturally became good friends. As for why he ignored Jack, Auggie didn't hide anything. He hoped that Shamu would keep this secret, never reveal the truth. But when Shamu saw Jack's humble plea to her, couldn't help but give him a reminder. Grimace. After speaking, he turned and left. In the following class, Jack kept recalling what happened a few days ago. Suddenly, he remembered the scene from that day. A sense of guilt surged up in his heart. He now deeply regrets and blames himself. Just as he was about to do something, coincidentally, he overheard the rich second generation mocking Auggie. Without thinking, Jack threw a punch directly. The two instantly started fighting. It seemed like they were venting their resentment towards each other. Fortunately, the teacher hurried over. Only then were the two successfully separated. Auggie saw the scene in front of him. He was overwhelmed with mixed emotions for a moment. The next day, Jack added Auggie as a friend through a game. The first sentence is a sincere apology, had I said. The words were a sincere apology. After hesitating for a moment, Auggie ultimately decided to forgive him. If L. But I totally liked it as a joke in childhood. But I totally would if it was a joke. But I totally would if Julian provoked me with a joke. And would also make up after an apology. Since then, Auggie became cheerful again. He had more and more good friends around him. In science class, he would generously share his achievements. His classmates admired him greatly. On the other hand, the rich second generation, only two little guys, under pressure, still persevered and waited. Seeing them laughing and talking, the rich second generation became furious. The seed of evil also began to sprout in their hearts. He handed Auggie a piece of paper. On it was a drawing of an extremely ugly monster. This was clearly mocking Auggie. Besides that, he intentionally cut Auggie out of the class photo and posted it in the school corridor to mock him. Brave Auggie did not report to the teacher. Instead, he chose to silently endure. After Auggie left, the teacher questioned the rich second generation's classmates. Only then did they realize the seriousness of the situation. So they immediately reported to the principal. The parents of the rich second generation were naturally called in as well. However, their attitude was extremely arrogant. They denied their children bullying their classmates. It was simply being evasive. Faced with their rudeness, the principal presented the evidence. The back of the photo clearly said, "Do everyone a favor. Go die." However, the mother of the rich second generation said that she did it herself. Because her son would have nightmares whenever he saw Auggie. She did it to protect him. Faced with such shameless excuses, the principal took out many pieces of paper. Each one had various monsters drawn on them. The other party was momentarily speechless after being confronted. At this moment, the father of the rich second generation suddenly spoke up. "Mr. Principal, many members of the school board are my friends. I have even more friends." Obviously, the principal is not afraid of their threats. After a fruitless stalemate, the parents decided to transfer the child to another school. The rich second generation said that he really likes this school. He hopes to continue staying here. However, his proposal, in the eyes of his parents, it's just a bunch of hot air. The rich second generation realized his mistake just before leaving. Finally, he said the long-awaited apology. Not long after, the school organized a summer camp. All the students went to a small island together, AC-10. This was the first time Auggie experienced the joy of group activities. Without strict supervision from teachers, accidents followed. Auggie and Jack secretly went to play in the woods. Unexpectedly, they were bullied by a few older students. When they heard them insulting Auggie, Jack rushed straight up, but ended up being pushed down and hitting his head, although afraid. But Auggie, in order to protect his friend, still stood in front with his small body. His little fists were also ready for battle. But before it even started, he followed in Jack's footsteps. Fortunately, their classmates arrived in time. Several people instantly started fighting. The situation quickly turned around. And in the end, they emerged victorious. After this battle, Auggie finally shook hands and made peace with those who had mocked him. Past grievances also disappeared. Auggie couldn't help but cry, although he was shedding tears. But these were tears of happiness. To this day, he experienced friendship for the first time. It turns out it can be so moving. Not long after, Auggie had his graduation ceremony. Dad personally dressed him in a suit. At the same time, he also told him a secret. It turns out the helmet was hidden by Dad. The purpose was to make him face setbacks bravely. It's obvious that he succeeded. Dad felt extremely gratified and proud. What's even more surprising is, the principal awarded the Helpfulness Award to Auggie. Because of his presence, he influenced many students around him. Auggie not only taught them kindness and respect, but also brought them a lot of humor and joy. This honor is well deserved. Everyone present cheered and rejoiced for him. The movie Wonder Boy concludes here. So, a person's appearance doesn't represent anything. As long as one knows how to be tolerant and never give up, you will also become that Wonder Boy. Alright, today's story ends here. Welcome everyone to comment, like, and share. I am Shaw Yu, looking forward to our next encounter.